Who would win? A nerd, a homeless person, an old grandma, and a weirdo? Or one water snakey boy?
Yeah, this video is definitely not being done to see if Gyarados is a decent Pokemon in the slightest. I was just thinking one day, I wonder what it would be like to use only a Gyarados in the entire journey through Kanto. With first stage Pokemon, the intrigue is in how they can power through the difficult parts of the game. With this, it's seeing how vastly overpowered Gyarados is going to be through most of the game leading up to the end. Sure, Magikarp is not fun to use, but evolving it into a Gyarados is a great thing. It's easy to overlook, but Gyarados is a great Pokemon to use in any playthrough, especially a Nuzlocke because of how early you can get one. In terms of stat totals, Gyarados is the 8th highest stat total in the original 151. Right behind Mewtwo in first, Dragonite, Mew, the 3 birds, and Cloyster. It has the exact same stat total as Gyarados too. To be fair, Cloyster's defense is super jacked up instead of being balanced, so it's not really better than the Snaky Boy, but still, I was legitimately surprised when I saw this. But Gyarados' pretty even stat distribution is one of its main draws. It has an absolutely bonkers attack stat, special that is just behind it, and the other stats being comparable. It's just an all-around good Pokemon. And I have an affinity for water Pokemon, cause they're just good, so this was a very fun run to do. Gyarados' moveset is super nice too. I'm basic. I don't go for low accuracy moves, so even though Blizzard and Hydro Pump are killer moves, I still opted for Surf and Ice Beam. Blizzard even has a 90% accuracy in Gen 1, but I just don't like that dice roll. It also has the ability to learn Hyper Beam and Thunderbolt of all moves. Like I said, this is not a run to see if it's possible to only use Gyarados. That's painfully obvious. It's mainly seeing how overpowered Gyarados is going to be in the game. The rules are the same as they always are. No using items in battle, no using other Pokemon, no evolving Gyarados, because I mean, you can't. And Megastones aren't in Kanto. Unless if you're talking about Let's Go. But I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that still brings up that game fondly. If you've never used the Universal Randomizer, it changes yellow so that Oak catches the Pokemon you've set as your starter to appear in the grass. Yeah, if you see a Gyarados walking around outside your house, it might be time to move. Also, I named Gyarados Gary because I have an uncle with that name. I always thought Gyarados was spelt like Gary, and Gary, like Pokemon Gary. I fully expected Gyarados to wreck Eevee, given Gyarados' attack stat. But it looked like Eevee was doing a comparable amount of damage. Like I said, the main reason for this run to see how overpowered Gyarados is going to be. And in the first battle, it was kinda mediocre. But that had to have just been a fluke. I wanted to make sure that I won both rival battles, so I had to battle Jolteon at the end. So I went straight to the second battle, and boy did I get wrecked. This is not shaping up to be the run-through that I thought it was going to be. I did level up and beat my rival's team, and only did the mandatory bug catcher battle in the forest so I could go straight to Brock. I really just wanted to see, at level 8, if maybe, just maybe, the higher than normal attack stat would be enough to win. Bro, this giant water snake is doing next to nothing. I know Geodude and Onix are resistant to normal attacks, and have higher than normal defense at this point in the game, but man, Gyarados does not get to take advantage of its stats for a while. And by a while, I mean level 16. I tried one attempt at every level, and only around 14 did I ever reach Onix. I tried using Struggle instead of Tackle, that still didn't work. But when I was at level 16, it just hit all the right RNG, leaving me in green health to finish the battle. So maybe you can't beat it at a lower level, but so far, pretty unimpressed with Gyarados. I'm gonna assume that this lack of tenacity is because of the moveset at this point in the game. Tackle. Even on a great physical attacker, it ain't great. But inside Mount Moon, I got Water Gun, and that changed the game big time. Water Gun has a power of 40, basically making it the Tackle of its water types. But Tackle also has a power of 35 in Gen 1, so it's at least 5 points better. But in Gen 1 before the physical special split, Gyarados' special was straight up fire at 100. This made the battle with Jesse and James in Mount Moon ridiculously uneventful. Maybe things are looking more like what I thought they would be. But let's test that against Misty. Tackle still didn't do a lot, and Misty liked to use her X-Defense, but Staryu was knocked out with me having a great amount of health. And after beating Staryu, Gyarados learned Bite. Bite only has a base power of 60, but it immediately made its presence known. Starmie was faster than me, so I couldn't get it to flinch, but between the X-Defend and only using Harden over and over, Gyarados still got a quality win. Alright, Gary. Now that's more like what I was expecting from you. Not to mention that Misty's smart AI probably made it where it couldn't use Bubble Beam against me, but we're gonna ignore that. Beating Misty got me the Bubble Beam TM, and that has a base power of 65. I made sure I taught it before the rival battle on Nugget Bridge. Oh, mama, that's more like what I was expecting. Eevee took hits before taking it down, though. Honestly, kind of proud of you, bud. Although, my Eevees are proven better if you want to check out those videos or something. From here on, I started avoiding all trainer battles that I could. Now that I have a usable moveset, I can actually see how strong Gyarados is. I didn't even do anything between the Nugget Bridge rival and the St. Anne rival. Just the mandatory battles along the way, and the one trainer you have to beat to get Body Slam. Body Slam has a power of 85, and has the chance to paralyze. Gyarados is getting pretty overpowered. Also, this isn't a hot take or anything. I really think Body Slam might be the best move to use in Gen 1. Maybe there's a potential for a video there of the best moves to use in each generation, I'm not real sure. Let's just see how Surge does. Since it's yellow, he only has Raichu, but it's 2 levels higher than me, and it had the speed advantage. First turn it used Growl, not unexpected, then Surge used an X-Speed. I almost thought about using Bubble Beam to lower its speed, but this basically told me to keep going for Body Slam. Then it used Mega Kick. This Raichu does in fact know Thunderbolt, but instead of using it against the literal only Pokemon that is water flying in this generation, it used Mega Kick. Surge, you're not smart. He also suggested I teach Thunderbolt to an electric type, which is exactly what I did, as far as he knows. And then I completely forgot I taught Gyarados Thunderbolt in the rival battle in the Pokemon Tower. I kept on body slamming on Fearow and Shelder that I probably could have one-shot with Thunderbolt, but it's not a big deal. I figured I'd go ahead and do this battle before I got some levels getting the Rainbow Badge and the Sylph Scope. And Erica actually stopped me twice before I got the Gym Badge. But don't worry, the grass types didn't overpower me. The first time through, Weepin' Bell got me with Stun Spore, second time it hit with Sleep Powder. I didn't have an outright level advantage though, so maybe this taking 2 attempts actually speaks more into Gyarados being a very viable competitor. But on the third try, I got the win no problem. After deciding I would be getting levels in Celadon City, I actually picked up the Pokédoll so I could bypass the Marowak in the Pokemon Tower and not have to battle all the Rockets and Giovanni. And then this sentence is something that I never thought I would be typing. Jesse and James actually beat me. This really only came because of my own mistake. I was trying to see if Body Slam was the way to go, or if the stab bonus from Bubble Beam was going to get me the win. And it wouldn't have, if my math is correct. I haven't done this in a while, y'all, but it's time. It's time for Math with Coach Max. So Body Slam does 85 damage. No stab bonus, nothing. Bubble Beam does only 65 base damage, but the stab bonus boosts it to 97.5. Now the difference in Gyarados' base 125 attack and 100 special stat almost makes the difference negligible, and I really don't know how to calculate which one is actually better from beyond that. So that just goes to show you, just because you have a college degree does not mean you have any idea what you're talking about. Anyway, I lost, got paralyzed by Arbok, and I just couldn't take down Weezing in time. After battling again, I just used Bubble Beam the entire time, and that got me the win. Now I went straight to Koga, and I'm starting to be at a severe level disadvantage. His weakest Venonat is 10 levels higher than me, and his Venomoth is 16. So things aren't working out fantastic, but I still like my odds. Body Slam and Bubble Beam are really doing the same amount of damage, but Body Slam gets the chance of paralyzing, so I opted for that. In the first battle with Koga, I reached Venomoth. I had incredible luck getting there, but it poisoned me, and my high special stat couldn't stand up to Psychic. I tried this battle a few more times, but then I thought I'd try something else. I went and grabbed Surf, so I had a much stronger stab move. And man, that made a difference. I would say I got lucky with some high rolls, but this move took down everything. When I got back to Venomoth, I used Ice Beam, because I thought it was bug flying. It's bug poison. Did y'all know this? I didn't know this. So I got hit with Toxic, then got a critical hit with Surf, lowering it to yellow after Koga used Double Team. Then he used an X attack, and I got another crit with Surf. I really could have blown it if I hadn't gotten lucky with crits. That's a huge level disadvantage that I was able to overcome. And since Surge's electric type was garbage, I thought every electric type was garbage. But no. My rival's Jolteon and Silphco was decimating me with Thundershock. I know it's stab, 4 times effective, but it's still just Thundershock. It was wrecking me, but I didn't level up. Instead, I got a little more creative. And by creative, I mean I gambled. A lot. Just to get the Hyper Beam TM. And after a few minutes, I thought 2 things. 1, this is a really cool slot screen, basically showing that Team Rocket's in charge of the game corner. I don't know if I ever played the game corner in yellow as a kid. 2, this is dumb. I used a Game Shark code for money so I could just buy the TM. Here's the thing. I literally only saved time doing this. I would have just reset over and over on the slot machine, so it just saved time. If it upsets you, I'm sorry. I got stuff to do. This is a stronger move than Body Slam by a good margin, and I only had to battle my rival once more to come on. This took a few more attempts, but once I got a critical hit. No, it's not consistent, but I still beat him. No extra levels needed. But I forgot to heal before the next Jesse and James battle. I had 9 HP. Wheezing is tanky, took my Hyper Beam, and then got me. I really can't believe I lost twice to Jesse and James in this run. But after healing and going at it again, I won very handedly. And Giovanni wasn't tough at all. There's only one thing to talk about in this battle. Nidoqueen, Poison Ground, weak to water, and I have Surf, a stab super effective move, only 3 levels lower. And it stayed in red health. I still got the win, but I did not expect to have to do that 1 extra move. Now Sabrina, with 3 Pokemon, really only 2 because Abra can't do any physical damage, at level 50, I should not win this battle. Abra always opens with Flash to lower accuracy, was clearly not going to survive Hyper Beam. Kadabra missed Kinesis. I hit Hyper Beam through the accuracy drop. But Alakazam was able to set up Reflect, and Sabrina used an X Defend, and since I missed my first Hyper Beam, it was set defensively. You can see the 1 Hyper Beam only doing about half, and Psychic just hits hard. Second attempt, still had lower accuracy, Kadabra even hit with Kinesis this time, but Alakazam used Psywave, I landed Hyper Beam, destroying Sabrina. Let's keep rolling. I'm gonna be real, I thought I would beat Blaine first try, but this team of Ninetales, Rapidash, and Arcanine is a surprisingly solid team. It took me about 5 times to win. Ninetales uses Confuse Ray, which has a 100% accuracy, and this became an incredibly annoying opponent. Rapidash never really posed any threat, but just either being gassed by the time I hit Arcanine, or it getting a lucky crit made Arcanine a threat. But I guess I speed-tied the Rapidash and the Arcanine, because all of my losing attempts, I attacked second. But when I won, I was attacking first for some reason. So yeah, I had trouble in the gym that I had a type advantage in, but won because of my speed stat. This is Gen 1, there are no rules. Giovanni uses ground types, so this was a one and done, right? No, Gen 1, there are no rules, nothing makes sense. Well, not really, I'm severely underleveled. Dugtrio can only hit me with Sand Attack, since it's a normal type move in Gen 1, and the rest of its moves are ground. But Persian is always going to get a critical hit when it uses Slash. I'm pretty sure it's like a 97% chance for it to land a crit when it uses Slash. So if it used Slash, it hurt. Fury Swipes wasn't bad, but it could rack up after a while. And it took 3 hits when I got unlucky low rolls. Nidoqueen was a 2-hit with Surf, again, and I missed my first time by using Thunderbolt because I wasn't paying attention. Then it knocked me out with Thunder. So Giovanni made sure his Pokemon had good move coverage, did not expect that. And then Nidoking knocked me out with Thunder the next attempt. Giovanni really made sure his team had good move coverage. But after a few attempts, and preying on Thunder's low accuracy, I got the win. I'd like to point out here that this is one of the few battles that I could have won easily if I had Hydro Pump, but that low accuracy terrifies me. I hate low accuracy moves, even if they're 99%. It scares me. And I guess the universe watched me type that last sentence, because as we all know, there is a 1 in 256 chance of missing a move in Gen 1, and it happened in the last regular rival battle at the worst possible time. His team stood no chance, even with me being underleveled. Kadabra used Recover, so I got a free hit on that one. Jolteon used Thunder and missed. I had the win. Then I missed Hyper Beam. So I used it again, but Thunder hit. You can't script that. But then I got lucky again, lol. This is one of the luckiest runs I've ever done. Gyarados is good, but it's not like it's head and shoulders above using a first stage evolution Pokemon. I learned Gary uses potions because this battle is on an early route, so maybe if I can't knock out Jolteon in one hit, I can get him to waste a turn with a potion. I also learned that it uses Thunder Wave. That's better than Thunder, even with the chance of paralysis. I got the win when I had a critical hit. Unbelievably lucky. I am so underleveled. Get ready for this one. I beat Lorelei first try. Did not expect that one at all. But I would assume being water type had something to do with that. Dugong took 3 hits, but I avoided big damage because Lorelei uses super potions. You think an Elite Four member would have better equipment. Or maybe it's like teaching where you have to pay for a majority of your own supplies. Trust me, it's really sad. I love my students. Support more public education funding. Cloyster took 2 Thunderbolts and used Spike Cannon to chip away at me. Slowbro is tanky and withstood the Thunderbolts and landed a Psychic. That was deadly, but I knocked it out next turn. Jinx was just too weak physically to withstand Hyper Beam. Lapras had me scared though. It only used Confuse Ray. I think it's because of Lorelei's smart AI, but still. It could have just finished me off. I hit myself in confusion twice, but landed enough hits, and a crit, to take down Lapras. A confused homeless person was in the second room of the Elite Four, but then I realized it was Bruno because I actually lost one attempt. I really should have been nicer to him. My big mistake was thinking Hitmonchan could be taken down with Hyper Beam, but its special in Gen 1 is much, much lower than its defense. So I should have just gone with Surf. Then I was too weak when I got to Machamp, who also can withstand Hyper Beam. The second attempt through, I just used Surf on everything. I had to take a few hits, but I got the win. Alright, let's look at Agatha's team. Pick 2 Pokemon that you think caused the most trouble. Yeah, the second Gengar, we all saw that coming. But Golbat? Really? Yes. All because of Toxic. I can't hit hard at all against most of these Pokemon. I was constantly hit by Confuse Ray, so I lost a ton of turns hitting myself in confusion. And that allowed Golbat to use Toxic. And just taking down the other Pokemon winded Gyarados. So getting to the final Gengar with a lot of health left over was really tough. And then I was at the final Gengar. I was paralyzed, and I couldn't be hit with Dream Eater or Hypnosis. I used Ice Beam, hoping for a freeze, and after 3 turns it froze. There's no way without items to thaw in Gen 1, so I had the win. But Gyarados was confused, and on the turn that could have won the battle, I knocked myself out in confusion. This was absolutely ridiculous. But since I knew this was possible, I kept on trying over and over, waiting for this strategy to work. And it took a while, but getting paralyzed by the first Gengar kept Gary from getting hit by Hypnosis and Dream Eater later in the fight. And after Ekans being a straight up jerk, I landed at 6 HP. When it should have killed me, it used Screech. I took it down, and the first turn with Gengar, I froze it. And I wasn't confused, so no danger present at all gave me the win. Lance was not very tough at all. I really only had to battle him a few times. With Thunderbolt and Ice Beam, I was well equipped to take down the Imposter Gyarados and Dragonairs, even though I couldn't take anything down in one hit, so that was never fun to come against. Aerodactyl really didn't hit too hard. Hyper Beam isn't a pushover, but it rarely opted for that. Surf can take it down in 2 hits on low rolls, and even though Dragonite is 4 times weak to Ice Beam, it still survives a single hit. And it has Thunder and Hyper Beam, but Thunder has low accuracy, so Lance, despite his team, is just not great against Gyarados. And the final rival battle isn't even that bad if it weren't for Gary's 4 times weakness to electricity. One Pokemon at a time. Sandslash. What a dweeb. Surf is deadly. I don't think Sandslash ever damaged me. Alakazam obviously outsped me, and its moves can be concerning. Psychic, if it lowers my special, is a bad thing. Psybeam is strong, not terrible, and Kinesis is just annoying. Honestly, my least favorite of all the moves. But one Hyper Beam obliterates it, no matter what. Exeggutor is bulky, and even though Ice Beam is 2 times effective and Gyarados has decent special, it's not enough to take it down. It only goes for Leech Seed though, I think because of the Gen 1 AI, but this is honestly worse than me just taking damage from it regularly. When I'm seeded, I'm like that for the rest of the battle. It normally took 3 hits to take it down, but every once in a while I would get unlucky and have to spend 4 whole turns on it. Cloyster isn't bad at all, it takes 2 Thunderbolts, but Spike Cannon can wreck me if it gets a critical hit or lands all 5 times. It's just an annoyance, plain and simple. Ninetales should have been easier to take down, but it can stand up to a single Surf, and it loves to use Confuse Ray. For those of you that just checked out recently, Confuse Ray has 100% accuracy, and this obviously wrecks me. It's preferable when it uses Tail Whip and Quick Attack, but if it goes in that order, and I hit myself in confusion, it can take a good chunk of health away. And Jolteon, 1 Thunder, no matter how much or how little health I have, and I'm a goner. If I could take it out in 1 hit, I would be in business, but I just can't. If I got a crit with Hyper Beam, it would be possible, but I didn't want to rely on that insane luck. So I got even more insane. I just kept repeating this battle for the better part of an hour. Jolteon might use Thunder Wave instead of Thunder, giving me a free hit if I don't get stopped from being paralyzed. But no crits to be seen. Ever. I really wish I could say I won this battle starting at level 50. But it just wasn't gonna happen. It was definitely doable, but at this level the early stages of the fight just posed too big of a problem, making the margin of victory against Jolteon that much tighter. I used rare candies I'd picked up along the way and entered the battle at level 54. Sandslash drowned. Poor little shrew. Rest in peace, Newt, for those of you that watched my blue Nuzlocke. Alakazam missed Kinesis. Ironic. And got hit by Hyper Beam. Exeggutor was not taken down in 1 Ice Beam, even with a crit, but I froze it. I'd never been at full health before hitting Cloyster, and I didn't have Leech Seed on me this time. Thunderbolt, unfortunately still couldn't take it down in 1 hit, and I lost about 1/6 of my health from Spike Cannon. Ninetales used Tail Whip, didn't go down to Surf, and used Quick Attack next turn to knock me a little above half health. But hey, no Confuse Ray. I knew I wasn't going to attack first. I got hit by Thunder Wave, fought through the paralysis, landed a critical Ice Beam, and froze the Lightning Dog. I literally just had to keep pressing A over and over. So instead of getting lucky with Hyper Beam, I got lucky with Ice Beam, which has a 10% chance of freezing, as opposed to Hyper Beam landing a crit, which with Gyarados was roughly a 15% chance of happening. Like I said, I know no one was wondering if you could beat the game with just Gyarados, but you can. And it is pretty strong. It handled most of the game well on its own. I would say it's one of the best Pokemon you can get in Gen 1, just for the stats alone. But having a good special and physical learn set makes it even better. Gary, you done good, kid. Please make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it today. If you leave a like, I will personally go to your house and leave a thank you card in the mailbox. 100% guarantee. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment letting me know what you thought about the video. If you're American, happy Thanksgiving, don't go crazy on Black Friday, stay safe, and until next time, see you later!